If journalists were reporting the developments at the border right up to the declaration of war, it meant the brass was relaxed enough about the situation to think about publicity. Spreading propaganda about the Faramati Empire couldn't hurt the political situation either. Furthermore, the Entente alliance crossing the border first provided legitimate justification, and by admitting the mass media, they were essentially announcing this was a war they could win. Even in this alternate world, national leaders who could consider allowing journalists to freely cover losing battles only existed in fantasy. The fact that imperial officers had nothing to hide, or at least very little, was proof that everything was going smoothly. All of these factors help ease Tanya's nerves. Honestly, when she first heard that she was getting sent to the north for field training, she wanted to yell, "I hope you rot," to the military state that was planning to work a young gal to the bone out in the borderlands. She wanted to curse being ex for getting a good, decent person mixed up with this world to begin with. But Tanya is completely fine with the Empire presenting her with an opportunity to climb the ranks in a one-sided conflict like the Gulf War. This war is winnable, and the soldiers are the winners. Her mission is simply to take out enemies from the safety of the sky and get promoted. While extraordinary and unexpected, it isn't a bad deal. In fact, it's better than not bad. Tanya's been presented with a 1 in a million chance. Border patrol missions are simple but dangerous, and even if you get results, there is a tendency for the brass to claim your achievements don't officially exist thanks to some political consideration ridiculousness. As a result, patrol duty in the disputed Northern Territory has a reputation within the Imperial Army as an all-pain and no-gain endeavour. It isn't easy to rack up achievements there, and to make unfavourable conditions worse, like it or not, Tanya Gurshev has the physique of a fair-skinned, blue-eyed, blonde-haired little girl. On top of that, a glance at her records shows that she's a military academy graduate on track to become an elite mage. If she's selected for an assignment and fails, there would be no way around the bad PR saying the army had ruined a young person with a promising future. Setting her capabilities aside and going strictly by outward appearance, even Tanya feels put off by her doll-like face. If I weren't Tanya, I wouldn't want anything to do with her outside of the cold duty. This objective perspective has been consistent since she was commissioned in the Imperial Army. Before, Tanya didn't have a bad reputation among the instructors, but the fact that her work contributions matched her pay grade simply couldn't wipe out the stains of rumours about the little girl mage. The only way around it was to produce even greater results, but as much as she wanted to do just that, the opportunity had never arisen. Until now. In other words, even though Tanya is a mage, no one recognises her as one. She's treated like a baby getting in everyone's way. In a sense, they're claiming she's defective. It's insulting how they barely pay attention to her career. Ironically, the Empire wound up giving her active combat duty in a situation where its army handily dominated the battlefield, an unexpected stroke of good fortune for her first battle. It seems the war will continue for a while under favourable conditions. If Tanya hopes to keep surviving, she needs to use that time to gain status and influence. I also want her to secure some connections. To that end, it's imperative for her to play a proper role in this predictable war and rack up honours and commendations. Having thought that far, Tanya unconsciously curls her rosy lips into a grin as she reassesses the situation. This might not be so bad after all. Actually, couldn't this work out wonderfully for my career? I should consider this a pretty sweet deal. No one is around to overhear her egocentric whisper. Even if someone were flying nearby, the howling of the Imperial artillery gunnery below would have drowned out her voice, not to mention the endless echo of shells making landfall and exploding. If I think of the cacophony as a VIP view of the Fuji firepower review, but with several times the roaring artillery, it isn't so bad. Ferry 08, this is Goliath 07, requesting firing results. Goliath 07, this is Ferry 08, good effect on target. I say again, good effect. Tanya's job is simple. She only needs to calmly observe and report to the artillery batteries. Flying around with the radio set weighing her down while maintaining the flight formula isn't easy, but the Imperial Army's computation orb is up to the task. Due to the disputed nature of the Northern Territory, many of the troops spread across the north are temporary transfers from Central Command. On paper, Tanya is only on loan from Central after she completed her field training program. If she takes her duties to heart, she could definitely return to the garrison in Central eventually. A position in the rear echelon isn't just a pipe dream. Once she's chosen as an officer magician in the rear, there's a distinct possibility Tanya could spend the rest of the war on standby until under orders to defend the capital. Depending on how she looks at it, personnel might have actually given her a golden ticket for developing a promising career in the long run. Tanya was bitter when she first learned of the decision for her to train in the boring yet perilous north, but it just goes to show that there's no telling in life what could be a blessing in disguise. It's a bit late, but I should probably mail thank you letters to my instructors with my latest updates as soon as possible. I have to build up my connections. I can already foresee a rosy career. Even in the midst of battle, Tanya is in visibly high spirits as she spots for artillery on the battlefield. Ferry away to Norden Control, please respond. This is Norden Control, loud and clear. The exploding shells below are satisfactorily laying waste to the Entente Alliance infantry who have crossed the national boundary. No matter how rugged the mountainous northern terrain, once artillery is fully deployed, the soldiers casually advancing on the border become nothing more than targets. All the more so if they lay of the land leaves them exposed. Ferry away, Roger. Enemy currently under suppressive fire. I believe we've neutralized them. Enemy infantry is breaking ranks. Maintaining a suitable distance, the exceptional artillery batteries of fire at unarmed targets under the guidance of an observer in an area where ballistics data was pre-calculated beforehand. It's impossible that the barrage can fail to wipe them out. Down below, the swarms of once orderly infantry fall prey to the howitzers all too easily once they begin flaying in all directions. As Tanya confirms the situation through a pair of binoculars, it becomes clear that any more will be just a waste of ammo. Northern Control, Roger. Advance to Patrol Line 2 and guide suppressive fire against the enemy's primary infantry. Ferry awaits, Roger. Will advance and continue observation mission. Her dispassionate exchange with Control is so free of noise that Tanya quietly thinks to herself, I didn't expect the radios to work so well in actual combat conditions. The sky is overcast as far as her blue eyes can see, so it isn't whatsoever will hint at enemy signal jamming. Yet the noise level can be turned the barely perceptible clear. The signal is so clean, it's almost ridiculous that she's carrying the massive Airman radio set, which was issued in anticipation of poor reception due to magnetic abnormalities caused by northern mineral deposits. Tanya passes over the Entente Alliance's scrambling troops and feels genuinely puzzled as she advances in order to set her sights on the persevering remnants of the enemy army. Seriously? What is the Entente Alliance trying to do? If they want to be targets for live ammunition exercises, they should have said so. I would have volunteered to strafe instead of observe, and if I knew we were going to be hunting for dodos instead of turkeys. The ones on bombing duty in this fight have escorts and control of the air, and if that isn't enough, they get dibs on the juiciest targets. I'm so jealous I can hardly stand it. Ferry away to Northern Control. I've advanced to the designated position. Northern Control, Roger. We see that. Relaying the situation to the artillery now. Continue to observe points of impact. Ferry await, Roger. Remaining on artillery observation until ordered otherwise. Over. Northern Control, Roger.